Good morning, everyone. I finally finished the garden bed expansion. I now have 9 of these 4x12s, and the back is all connected with the 56-foot bed by I think 18 inches. I'm going to trellis all of that. My intentions are to put tomatoes across the entire back. What I have done to get them winterized is I filled them about a third way full of topsoil, and then about a third way full of some free horse manure I had gotten, and then I topped the last third off with leaves from the yard, and I still gotta finish this one. My tomato cages were in the way. And to keep the leaves in place, as you can see on this one, I put rabbit manure over the top of the leaves, and I figure by the time May gets here and I'm ready to plant in the beds, hopefully most of this will be decomposed and ready to plant in. This 10th bed on the very end is 12 foot by 2 foot, and I've already got my trellis built on that one. And then I have a bed over here that I mainly put to keep predators and things from digging in the coop, but that's where I intend on planting my garlic. And then springtime I'll plant lettuce and spinach in that bed. My intentions is to build a trellis all across the back, the 56-foot there, and then another trellis on the end, and that will complete this section of the garden. Now, something I have decided to add, I wanted to let the chickens out, but my husband doesn't want the chickens in the garden, and the dogs tend to run through the beds when they see people playing in the park, so we want to keep the dogs out of here. So we decided to put a garden fence along the edge here, and instead of just wasting that space, what I'm doing is building garden beds that's going to go across there, and then put the fence across the back of the garden beds, as I've got the posts here up and ready to go. And that's going to go all the way across the back here. So that's my plans for the garden for 2013. I will spend the winter and early spring 2013 to get that all completed. I'd also like to mention that a co-worker gave me this little compost bin. It's not in the best of shape. One of the hinges is broke off the top, but I figure I can throw some compost in there and put a brick or something, keep it from blowing off. I'll make use of it. And speaking of compost, let's go take a look at the compost that I put together in the spring. There's my little chihuahua, Chloe. Chloe, what'd you find? Pretty girl. Anyway, compost. The first compost bin. I turned this a couple weeks ago, and the soil was 3/4 of the way up. Of course, leaves have blown in over the top of it, and it's wet now, but this is the compost from early in the spring. It's got grass clippings, it's got leaves, it's got garden scraps from the early garden, food scraps from the kitchen. I believe it's even got some wood shavings and chicken manure in there. And when I turned it, it was loaded full of worms. This is ready to use. I'm going to let it sit here for the winter, and hopefully it'll be real nice compost for the garden next year. And this is my second compost bin. Put a bucket in here to keep it from blowing away. And as you can see, it's full of garden leaves and grass clippings and kitchen scraps. And when I pulled out the fall garden, I threw all that in there. So I don't know that this will be ready to use by spring, but it should be ready by midsummer or at least by fall. So I'm looking forward to having some more compost. And I've got the 2 bins, and I'm thinking I might need to build a 3rd one, because as you can see, this one here on the end is almost full. Anyway, you guys, that's what's going on with the garden and the plans for 2013. It's going to be almost triple the square footage of garden that I had for 2012. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm hoping these leaves, horse manure and rabbit manure, will decompose over winter. I thought about covering them, and I thought, nah, if it snows, I want the snow on top of it. That way when it melts, the snow will add some nitrogen to the soil. So we're going to leave it uncovered for the winter and give that a try and see what happens with it. Until we speak again, stay prepared.